Friends, it's time for those most famous words in all of motorsports. Here to help give the command to fire engines, Mr. Jack Dodson.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
"18 engines fire to life on pit road." And an hour-and-a-half delayed show because of weather. It's finally time to go after it here for the Taylor Waste Services late models. They are on pit road in position and ready to come out here this evening. We're going to take a look at track facts here for this speedway at Larry King Law's Langley Speedway. It is a .397 or 4/10 mile paved oval. Banking relatively flat here on this racetrack, just 6 degrees in the turns, 2 degrees on the straightaway. Opened up in 1950. Of course, an asphalt racing surface. Our highlights, the big races, we know the Hampton Heat 200, the 15th annual anniversary. Vaughn Crittenden has put out some great social media as we get set for that big event. Of course, the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour will be here later during the month of August. Of course, we just had the Cars Tour, and then in the month of October, the big one, the Sean Beluzzo Memorial 100 for those thunderous Larry King Law Modifieds. So we continue our 73rd season of competition with this premier series, the Taylor Waste Services late models. We'll continue the doubleheader trend that we've done almost all season long with 2 races. That's again 2 points-paying events all in the same evening. So if you're off in one race, you could be off in both, particularly with weather conditions being very similar in both of these races. Normally we race in daylight for the first event and nighttime or darkness for the second race. Well, this evening, they're both under the lights. So that's the thing the crew chiefs are looking at with their crew members, how they're going to battle this weather and keep those race cars dialed in. Tonight is round 9 of the 2023 season. We just qualified a little bit ago for the starting lineup for this first race. In race number 2, drivers will start based on where they finish in this race, with the top 8 being inverted. Jack Dodson mentioned it, conserve the car and particularly those tires for race 1 so you're ready and in position for race number 2. It's the recipe to either gain a lot of season-long points or leave quite a few on the table. These cars are beautiful. They are 3,100-pound race vehicles that comply, of course, with the NASCAR 2023 rulebook. Now, earlier this month, or last month that was, we hosted the 5th annual Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour event, and Connor Hall, who we talked to earlier, won that event. He became the 4th different winner of that big race. The driver of car 77 represents this racetrack in the Cars Tour, as he and Brendan Queen both do. Of course, Connor, being right here from Hampton, has been, as we mentioned, unbeatable in 2023. Every race he's entered, he has won. So the 26-year-old sets P3 in the Cars Regional Touring Series Championship point standings. And again, so far locally in this division, he's won every single race. Keep your eyes on car 77. He starts P1. Another driver we're watching, well, that's our other Cars Tour driver that represents this racetrack. He won at the legendary North Wilkesboro Speedway, Butterbean, or Brendan Queen of Chesapeake. What about the finish at Dominion at the middle of last month? Brendan just barely lost that race to Bobby McCarty in a photo finish at the line. Brendan missed the big trophy by 9 1/1000ths of a second. For the last 3 years, it's been all about that car and team. He's picked up 3 consecutive titles and 14 wins. He's not won the victory lane this year like nobody else other than Connor Hall has done in this division, but he has had solid finishes, 3 runner-ups, and a 3rd-place effort. He's hoping to get win number 1 at his home track tonight. Of course, he's the most popular driver here, and he sits P2 in the Cars Championship chase. Let's talk about another driver. That one right there, 6-time champ Greg Edwards in car number 21. Greg Edwards is right near the front quietly each and every race. Greg Edwards starts P7 in tonight's feature. Top 10 of the championship standings coming into tonight's race. Right now, again, Connor Hall on top over Greg Edwards by 25 points. Woody Howard is currently 3rd, Nick Smith 4th, and Ryan Matthews rounds out the top 5. Mark Wirtz is 6th, Danny Edwards 7th, Brendan Queen is currently 8th, Terry Carroll 9th, and Dean Shiplet rounds out the top 10. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for tonight's feature. Rolling off row 1, Connor Hall and Matt Waltz in car 2. Great qualifying effort for that team. Danny Edwards and Woody Howard make up row 2. Brendan Queen and Casey Wyatt, who's back in the 29 car, they make up row 3. Row 4, Greg Edwards and Landon Pimpleton. Row 5 is Ryan Matthews and Mark Wirtz. Row 6, Nick Smith and Andrew Patterson. Row 7 will be Terry Carroll and Justin Carroll. Row 8 is Dean Shiplett and Craig Estep. Dwayne Shreves and Chris Horton make up row 9. 18 drivers, 18 teams ready to battle it out. The first of 250 Taylor Waste Services late model features is almost getting ready to happen here this evening. Here come the cars. Through turns 3 and 4, the field is forming for the start of the first race. Again, it's Connor Hall, Matt Waltz on row 1. Who's going to be victorious by race's end? We're going to find out. Green flag is in the air. The Taylor Waste Services late models are underway. Connor Hall leads the opening lap. The battle's on for third spot. Danny Edwards is trying to take it from Woody Howard as they race back to turns 3 and 4. Woody Howard in that red and white Wood Brothers paint scheme entry, trying to get back to the bottom of the racetrack. Couldn't quite do it as they race back to turns 1 and 2.
And that was Woody Howard around the top side that did that. He started 4th. Danny started 3rd. He's made the pass happen. The 41 car is up to P3. And don't look now, Brian. Here comes the 3-time defending champion, Brendan Queen, who took the weekend off a couple weeks ago. He's back and ready to get after it. And oh, by the way, how about Matt Waltz, former track champion? He's right in the tire tracks of Connor Hall.
Talking with Jack Dodson up here. Matt Waltz has only made a couple of starts here in 2023. Good to have him back at the racetrack, as he is certainly no stranger to winning at this speedway. Connor Hall in command. Matt Waltz trying to take it from him. They race off of turn number 2. For the most part, we're single file, but Jack, I'll tell you what, Matt Waltz is showing some muscle now.
Matt's always been strong here, and I'll tell you what, this is a perfect situation for him to break free and get into a winning streak here, or get back in the winner's circle, let's put it that way.
Absolutely. He's hoping to dethrone Connor Hall, become the first driver other than Connor to pick up a victory here in 2023. That last trip around, he was just a tick faster than Connor Hall. So car number 2, Matt Waltz, running a very fast lap, as has Woody Howard, who currently rides in 3rd spot. Look at that battle there for 3rd. Brendan Queen is trying to get around the 26 of Danny Edwards for 4th spot, as Woody Howard sees that battle happening in 1 and 2.
Danny Edwards looking very racy in that 26 car. Brian mentioned he lost the spot on the initial start. Gotta believe he's wanting to get that back and hunt down our front 2 competitors. 6-time champion looking awful racy, but here comes a 3-time champion right there. Brendan Queen looking underneath him. 6 and 0s there, down in 1 and 2. Little contact there through the corner.
Good racing for position. These drivers realize, we talked about quick 35-lap race. Well, this 50-lap feature, it's pretty quick as well, especially if we have a long green flag run. Brendan Queen started in position number 5. He bypasses the 26 of Danny Edwards. He'll take 4th. Following his tire tracks was Casey White of the 29 car. So that'll drop kick Danny Edwards back to position number 6. He lost 2 that most recent trip around. Behind him is Landon Pimpleton at car number 0. He's certainly trying to get in position and get this racetrack dialed in for the Hampton Heat 200.
And Landon Pimpleton is out of the Peyton Sellers Racing garage, so we know how quick that team is. It was prepared by Peyton Sellers Racing, that 0 car of Landon Pimpleton, so got a good notebook to build on as they come here looking for more notes in the Hampton Heat in 2 weeks' time as he works underneath the 6-time champion Danny Edwards. Landon gets a good run through 1 and 2, down the back stretch. He'll try to clear him in 3 and 4.
That's a battle for 6th spot, and here comes the 21. That's Danny's brother, Greg Edwards, also a 6-time champion. So the Edwards boys running side by side now in turns 1 and 2, as that battle will continue to rage on with Ryan Matthews looking from just behind. So indeed, put the 21 of Greg Edwards up 1 spot to 7th. Here comes Ryan Matthews. He's trying to freight train the Danny Edwards car. And Jack, that's the problem. If you get stuck up on that high side, you can lose 2, 3, or more positions.
And he's trying his best to get down, but every time they get to that point, the other car come along behind him and will fill that spot, and he cannot get down to save him. But hopefully he'll find a way to get down pretty soon. But right now, he's getting freight trained by a lot of them.
Tough break for Danny Edwards. Started the race in 3rd, and some 14 laps later, he's free-falling to 10th position. Does get back in line.
Got trouble in turn 2. Justin Carroll's around after contact with the 31.
Caution flag number 1 flies because of Justin Carroll with trouble in turn number 2 under the VA811.com billboard as they enter the backstretch, and that will slow us here for the first time.
Yeah, Brian stuck the nose underneath the 31. Justin lost the nose. That car went around. Saw it right in front of me. Just a racing incident there between two drivers, but no harm, no foul. The 91 looks to be okay.
So, Jack, tell you what, it gets dicey no matter where you are on the racetrack or what position you're in. Unfortunately, for car number 91, Justin Carroll, who was scored in 13th spot, he'll have to bring it to the pits.
Yeah, he's going to have to come in and check them tires out and see what he's got there, but doesn't look like it was too bad. Don't look like any damage at all, to tell you the truth, now that I'm looking at it.
So just maybe a quick glance over there as we know Adam Wellbrock's down in the pits. What are you seeing from down there?
Yeah, it looks like just a quick look over on the 91 car, Brian. Didn't really hit anything. He caught the apron, if anything, maybe hit the underbarrel of the car, the underbody there just briefly. But a quick spin around for the 91 looks to be all right.
A couple of more cars, Adam, in the pits down there. It looks like we've got the 72 of Dean Shiplett and Chris Horton in the pits.
And I got to wonder, are these drivers making adjustments because they were running towards the rear of the field? A quick chance to reset, make some adjustments, and head back out there just about a quarter of the way through this race.
14 laps in the books. We may be leaning a lot on Adam because as we look out of our windows here, they're just about fogged up completely. So thankfully we've got technology with our monitors. And Adam, we have you down there because almost, Jack, we're almost blind up here.
I'm almost blind. He said crash or spin in turn 2. I was looking, I still couldn't see it. So
Trouble in turn number 2 slows us here on lap number 14, the first caution flag of the evening. It allows these drivers and teams to reset. The drivers can take a deep breath because when they circle this track in 15, 16 seconds, they are working extremely hard, always turning. They've got drivers behind them, beside them, so this gives them a moment to just sort of catch their breath. Coming to the CarMasters Choose Zone here this evening, no surprise, Matt Waltz goes topside. Brendan Queen going to try to pick up some positions. He goes to the top. Landon Pimpleton does, and car number 0, and here comes quick Nick Smith in car 12. Mark Works in the 55 goes top side of the racetrack, as does Andrew Peterson in car number 31. Another driver making their first start, Landon Pimpleton, in his first start here in 2023, and as does Andrew Peterson. Coming to the race restart here at lap number 14, it's been all Connor Hall from the pole position, but Matt Waltz has been giving him a run for his money. Can he make the pass from the outside? Pace truck hits pit lane. We're set for the race restart with Connor Hall in command. Jeff Swanson, our chief starter, waves the green flag. Taylor Waste Services late model drivers are back in action with Connor Hall at the head of the field. The battle's on for second. Woody Howard versus Matt Waltz.
And the two drivers stuck in that outside lane, Matt Waltz and Brendan Queen. Brendan was able to get down. Matt was not. Here comes Woody Howard in the 41 car, who Dustin Yates picked earlier in the pre-race show. The 41 looking racy tonight. He's going to drive inside for second spot. Can't get it there. He's going to try again down the backstretch.
Just behind them is Brendan Queen. He had a big wiggle coming out of turn number 4 the last lap. And Casey Wyatt goes way up the racetrack in 3 and 4. Possible contact between him and another race car, maybe Greg Edwards. We're not sure. But nevertheless, Casey Wyatt lost a ton of positions as that car danced way up the racetrack.
And how about Landon Pimpleton in the 0 car, Brian? Makes the pass on the outside of 6-time champion Greg Edwards. Moved the 0 car up a place. He's looking racy as well.
Lots of battles here on the Speedway as now Casey Wyatt tries to reload as he races Ryan Matthews for the 7th position as they work off of turn number 2 and down the backstretch. As we see action all over this Speedway, even for position number 3. Brendan Queen working extremely hard now on Woody Howard as they go back now to turns 1 and 2. So Woody Howard has his hands full, and as we watch now, Landon Pimpleton under attack. Here comes Greg Edwards. That's for position number 5.
Yeah, Greg got a little antsy there with the 0 car. I moved him out of the way. Excuse me, sir, I'm coming through. This is my racetrack. The 6-time champion says, whoa there, buddy. Makes the pass look pretty easy there, the old chrome horn. Ryan Matthews looks to do the same.
Hey, Jack, did you see the Danny Edwards car? I thought he lost it that last time around.
I did, too. I thought he was pointing in the wrong direction there for a second.
Talking about car number 26, Danny Edwards, who rides behind Casey Wyatt. They've made some contact through 3 and 4, but nevertheless, he gets it back together now. Jack, let's talk about Landon Pimpleton. What's his strategy? He is certainly a top-notch race car driver, makes his first start. He's getting ready for a big race.
He is. He's getting ready for and you know, he's won several of the big races around. He's even run some trucks and Xfinity stuff. But Landon Pimpleton won the big race at Martinsville a couple years ago. So he's no slouch here, but he knows what he's got to do at this point. if he hangs right where he's at, the next race he's in a good position for the next race too.
So how much of this is a study session and getting ready, a test and tune session for that driver and team?
Probably 90% of it is a test and tune right now. They're trying to learn a little bit more about the track, a little bit more about their competition out there. So yeah, I think it's what it is.
We're going to look at a replay as we saw the 26 and 29 get together a few laps ago. Jack and I were watching that. So look at the box on the bottom of your screen as you see the 26 and 29 get together. The 26 of Danny Edwards almost lost it on the inside.
Yeah, he was down there, and it didn't. He didn't keep it straight there, but you know, he did have some help there getting it turned sideways.
I'm sure the heart rate, Jack, went way up.
Oh, I'm sure it did too, because mine did too, and I'm not even racing. So.
Cross flags coming out. 25 have been completed of the advertised 50 laps. No surprise, Connor Hall has led all 25 circuits. He's your race leader. Matt Waltz rides in second. There's your third and fourth place drivers, Woody Howard and Brendan Queen. Brendan Queen trying to make the bypass on Woody Howard. He's right now trapped in fourth, and Adam, he's really trying to get that from Woody.
Yeah, I can imagine the 03, Brendan Queen getting a little impatient there with the 41. You can see he's visibly quicker right now than the 41, able to drive it in deeper. The car rotates nicely and just does it a little bit better. We're talking slips of margins here, better than the 51 machine. So Brendan definitely knows he's got to go, and he's got to go now if he wants to have any shot at getting to Matt Waltz, which in turn will get him a shot at Connor Hall. He's got his work cut out for him right in the fourth spot.
We're watching Craig Estep bring the 25 car to the attention of his crew. So Craig Estep off the track here just past the halfway mark. Battle continues for the third spot. Brendan Queen possibly making some slight contact with Woody Howard. Jack, I think he's trying to move him up the track.
I think he's going to try to get him up a little bit so he can get under him and get around him so he can catch up with Matt Waltz. But going around him is going to be another problem. He can get to him and get up beside him, but he just can't quite pull the pass.
And Brendan has had a solid season this year. Let's just face it. He's finished right near the front week in and week out. But how frustrating is it for him to not get that car to winner's circle?
Oh, it's got to be really frustrating for him. And now he looks in his rearview mirror, and here comes Greg Edwards. And he's got to be thinking about it. He's been dominant here for the last couple of years, and it's got to be getting under his skin just a little bit that he hasn't pulled the win off yet this year.
And speaking of not pulling off a win, well, Greg Edwards picked up 3 victories last season. His last championship came back in 2019. It was his 6th title. He also probably has to be a little frustrated as well.
Oh yeah, and the next time they come out here for the Hampton Heat, those guys want to be in a position where they can represent Langley Speedway and show what it's all about. So I'm sure he's a little bit frustrated with it too, and I'm sure he's going to do his best to try to get around both those cars.
And it looks like Brendan Queen and Greg Edwards, who ride 4th and 5th respectively, about a 1/10 of a second faster a lap than Woody Howard. But Woody Howard's playing defense. He knows what he has to do to keep that car and pinch the 0-3 down, so he holds on to that spot. So Adam, lap after lap, Woody Howard's there. But here comes Brendan Queen. He sends it down to turn 3.
And Brendan knows time is running out. He's got to go, especially as you guys mentioned, with Greg Edwards stalking him in the rearview mirror. His crew has got to be telling him, hey, you're quicker, let's get around him. We can take the fight to the 2 machine if we get a chance here. And Woody Howard, like you mentioned, just playing perfect defense, even here on the top side of the racetrack, just hitting his mark so well, making it so difficult for Brendan to make this pass.
Jack, any surprises at this juncture of the race? 15 laps left to go. Anything stand out to you at this point?
Yeah, the thing that stands out to me is Woody Howard. Woody Howard, he's a veteran of many different races here at Langley Speedway, other tracks, and he ran the Hooters Pro Cup Series for several years. He has done an outstanding job just staying right where he's at right now. Like we were saying earlier, playing defense on all these guys, and they cannot get by him. And that kind of surprises me a little bit, but that's who I'm looking at. That's my eyes on him.
And I have to agree with you, Jack, because if you look at the stat books, Woody Howard is in a position to have the best finish he's had all season long if he can hold on to that 3rd spot. The battle rages. Brendan Queen has been there lap after lap. He just cannot shake Woody Howard. Further back in the pack, watching a battle between the 26 of Danny Edwards and Terry Carroll. That's for a 10th spot. Adam, Terry Carroll will bypass the Edwards driver.
Yeah, how about Terry Carroll having another strong run? He had speed a couple weeks ago, if I remember correctly, that number 90 car showing out strong here as we get towards the end of the run. Talk about saving tires over the course of the long run. Looks like Terry's doing a fantastic job at that. Of course, driver with many, many laps around the speedway. He knows what he's doing.
And Jack, if you can't win this race and you can't finish inside the top 3, you might want to think about finishing in 8th spot.
That's exactly what I was getting ready to say earlier. You might want to start looking at that, to who's going to be in the 8th spot. And right now that's Casey Wyatt. So I think that's going to be, that's probably his way of doing things right now. So he knows he probably can't catch Connor Hall and those guys up front. And I'm going to tell you something, Connor Hall, he's pulled away just a little bit from Matt Waltz. But who knows if he's run that car hard to the point where he's not sure, what's going to happen in the next race. You just have to wait and see how that works out. But Connor Hall is not one who's going to lay back. So
that's right, I agree with you. We watched Brendan Queen a couple of laps ago lose the 4th spot to Greg Edwards. He was giving it all he could to get around Woody Howard for 3rd spot, but unfortunately loses the 4th spot to Greg Edwards. Laps beginning to wind down. There's your leader, Connor Hall, in the blue 77 car over Matt Waltz in car number 2 as they come by the start-finish line. Adam, we're about to wrap this one up.
And Connor's doing what he's been doing all year. That's setting his own pace and hitting his marks, the 77 car, managing the gap back to 2nd place. And I definitely got to wonder, Brian, what it's like driving against a driver he doesn't normally race against, that being Matt Waltz. A little bit different competition for him tonight. But how about an attaboy to Matt Waltz here? 2nd place, we talk about drivers building the notebook. Matt Waltz, certainly one of them. Of course, he's a former track champion here, but still learning for the Hampton Heat. And I'd say he's learned the most tonight. That car has a lot of speed.
Greg Edwards now giving a run for his money to the 41 of Woody Howard. He breaks a little loose coming off of turn number 4. Of course, Greg Edwards, currently 2nd in the championship chase, as we documented earlier, does have 2 2nd-place finishes. So he's been consistently right at the front of the field week in and week out. Give the position now to Greg Edwards. He'll take 3rd. Woody Howard is drop kicked back to 4th spot as they cross the start-finish line. Brendan Queen trying to close it in to Woody Howard as the laps wind down. Just 4 more circuits to turn.
I don't think Brendan, I think he kind of burned his tires up a little bit there trying to make that pass on Woody, because he doesn't look as smooth as he was before, and it looks like he's not quite as, he's got the power to get back to him. We'll see what happens these last few laps, but I don't know if he'll catch up with him. He can get to his bumper, but he can't do anything with him.
Here comes Connor Hall to put 48 laps in the books. Is Matt Waltz closing? That last time around, Matt Waltz was 1/10 of a second faster as they race off at turn number 2. And they will now come to the white flag. Just 1 more lap to go. Connor Hall trying to deliver one more time. Gets back in the throttle that last time. He was now 3/10 of a second faster as he exits turn number 2. Sells it into turns 3 and 4. Nobody really in front, nobody behind. And here he comes for the 9th consecutive race in a row. Connor Hall wins the Taylor Waste Services late model feature this evening. What a remarkable season he continues to have, Connor Hall, as we see Casey Wyatt gets that coveted 8th place finish. He'll start race number 2 on the pole. But Connor Hall from the pole led all 50 laps to get the win here tonight over Matt Waltz, who comes home in 2nd spot. So Connor Hall going to go back to a familiar place, Jack Dodson.
But, he's been there all year long. Might want to start thinking about naming it after him. He's been right there all year, and it don't look like it was anybody was going to get close to him. But I tell you what, he managed that lead. Cause you thought one time he was looked like Travis was coming, Matt was coming to him. But that didn't quite come out to fruition there. I think he done exactly what he had to do.
Absolutely. Connor Hall wins this race by more than a second over Matt Waltz, who comes home in 2nd. Greg Edwards will settle for 3rd. And let's go trackside to talk to tonight's familiar race winner.
Well, you guys talk about renaming Victory Lane. I think Connor could find this place blindfolded at this point. The 77 is so quick each and every week. Brian, you talked to him earlier during the rain delay, and he seemed pretty confident, just kind of cool, calm, and collected as Connor is, and definitely showed it right there, managing the race and setting himself up for race number 2. Going to start 8th in that race, but we've seen him make quick work of the field in the past. So we'll see what he's got for race number 2 on the docket tonight. It'll coming up a little bit later on, looking for double-digit wins. Win number 10. Technically, this is win number 10 on the year if you count the Cars Tour. So he's doing big things here in the month of July. Got to put him at the top of the heap for the Hampton Heat. When you talk about potential favorites to win that race, 200 laps in 2 weeks' time, he's going to climb on out of the car. And for the 9th time this season in the late models, it's Connor Hall, your winner at Langley Speedway. Talk to him over here at the front of the car. He's going to get a cold drink of water to celebrate. Win number 9, man. We were talking earlier during the rain delay. You were talking with Brian White. They are really confident coming into tonight, as you should be. Win number 9 on the year. How does it feel, buddy?
Oh, it obviously feels great. This track's really weird right now. I don't know what the rain did to it, but my car's rolling away.
So fast it's moving in victory lane, man.
But yeah, definitely just a different feel tonight. You know, it's weird qualifying at 9 o'clock at night, and just I think the track's lacking a lot of rubber, obviously due to some rain and stuff. But overall, a great night already for the 77, and we're gonna keep working, try to make it a little bit better because we honestly need a little bit more there. We were really loose, but luckily I think the clean air just helped us.
What's it like battling with someone like Matt Waltz, who doesn't really battle you each and every week? What is it like battling someone you're unfamiliar with?
Oh, I mean, I would call Matt and I very familiar. I've raced around him with him since I started out here. So Matt's very good and very good at what he does, and I'm glad to have those types of guys coming back out. And I know they're not a full-time program, but obviously they're really starting to put the work together and run very well.
And I know you got a lot of partners to thank on this bad fast racing machine.
Yeah, we got Talon Bank, Brennan Concrete, First Team Automotive, Marlin Marine Electronics, GSX Wraps, Not Done Yet Sport Fishing, ATC Lawn Care Services, Durham Mechanical, Harpoon Larry's, Colonial DJs, Oasis Pools and Hardscapes, just really Hedgecock Racing Chassis. They give me great cars, Billy Banks Racing Engines, and just a whole lot of people back at the shop. Clayton Parrish, Brad Roper, my dad, girlfriend for putting up with me and all the racing this year. But it's just, we're just here to have fun.
Have fun you did tonight, buddy. Congratulations. That's Connor Hall, winner for race number 1. Brian, 9 on the season. We'll see him a little later for race number 2 of the late models.
Absolutely. Connor Hall is tonight's race winner, again by more than a second. He picks up the victory over Matt Waltz, who finishes up second. Greg Edwards was third. Woody Howard finished fourth, and Brendan Queen rounds out the top 5. Ryan Matthews finished sixth here this evening. Landon Pimbleton grabbed the 7th spot. Casey Wyatt came home 8th at car number 29, so he'll start on the pole. He'll be joined alongside Landon Pimbleton on row 1 for race 2 later on this evening. Finishing up in 9th and starting race number 2 in 9th, that'll be the veteran racer Mark Wortz, a multi-time track champion, and Terry Carroll rounds out the top 10. Finishing 11th tonight was Justin Carroll. 12th went to Danny Edwards. 13th to Nick Smith, while Andrew Patterson in his first start, he comes home 14th. Craig Estep retired at lap 27. He gets credited with 15th spot. Dean Shiplet was 16th tonight. Chris Horton 17th, and Dwayne Shreves only completed 5 laps after retiring. He is credited with finishing in 18th spot. So Jack, that was a fun race. Thanks for coming up and helping call it.
I appreciate it. Appreciate you inviting me over here, and I'll tell you what, it was a fun race. And once again, Connor Hall showed his way. So I think that's a pretty good deal for him. We'll see what happens in the next race.
All right, so if we're putting the Vegas odds out, who are you got money on for the race 2?
You can't bet against him. I mean, there's no need to sit here and bet against him because he can. We've seen him come from the the middle of the pack and come to the front, so that is nothing unusual for him. So I was talking to him earlier, and I mean, you can just look at him and tell he's having fun, doing what he wants to do. He's having a good year on the Cars Tour. So that's just the way he is right now.
Keep that momentum going because it's certainly working to his advantage. Thank you, Jack, for all you do for the sport.
Thank you very much.
Race fans, don't go anywhere. We're back with more after these short messages.